Welcome to Focal Point News, your source for campus news, breaking headlines, and in-depth stories that matter. Coming up on Focal Point.
Join me as the city of Lansing celebrates its first ever Indigenous Peoples Day.
Find out what it's like to be on the MSU figure skating team coming up.
There's tailgates all around, but there's also another group that loves to spread spirit.
See how one of the world's biggest pop stars is making her way into a Michigan State classroom.
From the heart of Michigan State University, Focal Point starts right now.
Good morning and welcome to another week of Focal Point News. I'm Sonia Crone.
And I'm Brooklyn Burschel. It's October 17th, 2025, and we have a lot to cover today.
That's right, Brooklyn. Up first, there have been updates for Michigan's K-12 schools.
On Monday, Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed Michigan's education budget into law. One highlight, the budget includes the continuation of free meals for all K-12 students. Focal Point's Ryan Morris spoke with someone from MSU's own Child Development Lab on the impact.
For the first time in 16 years, state lawmakers missed their deadline to approve next year's budget. But 6 days after this deadline, Governor Gretchen Whitmer gave her signature. The budget's total is more than $81 billion, with more than $24 billion allocated for Michigan schools. They're expected to see budget increases across the board, including free lunches, free preschool education, and more funding for students' programs like special education and mental health.
With budget increases across the board, universal pre-K, and breakfast and lunch for all, I talked to Michigan State's Child Development Center for more on the benefits of these initiatives.
Dr. Jessica Landgraf from the Child Development Lab says the next year's funding could enhance the state's public education as a whole.
In a system like the Pre-K for All, where you have really robust support systems, not only for the children, but for the teachers in that classroom. So the children are getting the opportunity to build their social emotional skills.
And the highlight for her lies in the cafeteria.
You know, we understand and know how important having a full stomach is for kids and their ability to concentrate. And so I think taking that uncertainty away just adds another level of quality.
This funding spreads to more programs too, like more resources for IEPA programs and funding for at-risk students. Dr. Landgraf and other educators told me the funding will be a positive for Michigan education. In East Lansing, I'm Ryan Morris, Focal Point News.
Michigan is making moves to continue funding K-12 students. Looks like more students will be full of knowledge and full from lunch too.
Up next, more news from the capital city. On Monday, the city of Lansing celebrated Indigenous Peoples Day at the Michigan State Capitol. And on this holiday full of history, Focal Point's Griffin Makrovich actually spoke with Indigenous leaders on what this day means to them.
Unlike Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day is not an official federal holiday, so not every city across the United States celebrates it. But today I joined Lansing as they celebrate their first.
I got people I work with that said, well, ain't a Columbus Day? I said, well, that used to be.
We all know us men. We drive around and make the left turn and get lost. That's what happened to Columbus.
It's nice to be recognized as who we are as a people and a culture and our heritage.
Setting aside the controversial story of the Spanish explorer who discovered America, today we celebrate the culture of those who've been here for millennia.
It's overwhelming to be able to be part of something historic, to be able to follow in my uncles and grandfathers' footsteps, to be here on the Capitol, to celebrate our people, our indigenous ways of understanding, and how we can mingle in with our societies and walk in those two worlds. So it's such an honor to have an opportunity to share and to be a part of something bigger than myself.
Bear Paw has been speaking on reservations and at Native festivals for decades, educating audiences on Native American culture, philosophy, and history. Bear Paw thanks Legislative Acts and Governor Gretchen Whitmer for reinforcing the recognition and celebration of Native heritage.
So now that they're starting to become enlightened and having legislative acts to bring back moral compasses within our society, we're hopeful that the humans of American society learn about being humane again. And through cultural openings and recognitions like this, we can do that.
Ottawa elder and Native bandsman Clinton Gould has sung at Native American powwows and gatherings in 46 states and all of Canada. But as a Michigander, this one is special.
To make this a final history day is something that I'm proud of. The Native and Indigenous people, we invite non-natives into our circle to dance, to feel Mother Earth, to feel the heartbeat of that drum. Without that drum, there would be no Native people.
With the world we live in today, these elders say that sometimes all we need is a reminder to stay human.
We're lost. We're on a road that we're losing our humanity. And it's no longer easy to be nice and reach out across not only the aisle, but across the street and say, hey, let's be friends. Let me show you something. Will you show me something? We're hoping that when we come together like this, that it shows that it only takes a smile, a welcome, a hello, a reach out, shake my hand. That's it, right there. Simple, easy. Breaks cycles, breaks generations of misogyny and racism and misunderstanding. That's what this represents. The cornucopia of colors of people to come and be a part of Indigenous Day, to recognize that not only we have indigeneity, but you, those that come from other places, recognize your own indigeneity on this day.
In Lansing, I'm Griffin Makrovich, Focal Point News.
Going forward, Indigenous Peoples Day is set to be held every year on the second Monday of October. Up next, there's a new exhibit in town.
The Eli and Edith Broad Art Museum at Michigan State University is presenting Unbecoming, a mid-career survey of artist Diana Al-Hadid.
The exhibition features work that challenge the traditional boundaries between painting and sculptures, and for visitors, it offers an opportunity to engage with contemporary art. Now live, Meg Vandermark joins us outside the Broad Museum with more information.
Thanks, Sonia and Brooklyn. As you can see here, I'm outside of Broad Art Museum, which has a very unique shape to it, which is arguably why Unbecoming belongs so well within these walls. Unbecoming blurs the line between paintings and sculpture, structure and collapse. Here's the story.
Sometimes things feel like they're unraveling or unbecoming, and sometimes things feel like they're shifting into new forms of becoming. And neither of those are necessarily good or bad, but they're just states of where we are, maybe even in between spaces. So
that tension between change and identity defines the work of Syrian-American artist Diana Al-Hadid. I think about Unbecoming as kind of this story of always being wrong. You're always wrong no matter what you do and who you are and how you try and change, and eventually coming to realize that even if you are unbecoming and always wrong, that what really matters is that you're right to yourself and that you're happy with who you are and that, you know, you really get to be your authentic self and celebrate that.
I feel like that was one of the most effective parts about it being like a 3D collection and there being these structures. It really leaned into that idea of like, what does it mean for a female artist to take up space within a typically male-dominated area?
In a museum designed without right angles, Unbecoming invites visitors to embrace imperfection and find beauty in the in-between.
Earlier today, I had the chance to talk to Rachel Winter, the curator of Unbecoming, who had a little bit more to say about the events that are to come in the next 2 months. Here she is.
The exhibition Unbecoming is a survey of paintings and sculptures by Syrian-American artist Diana Al-Hadid, and if you come see the exhibition, you'll get to view 4 new works that are debuting here. The sculpture behind me, which has not been on view in the U.S. for more than 20 years. And it's a great opportunity to come and think about the ways that sometimes falling apart is necessary to come back together, and that we can find the becoming in Unbecoming.
The Broad Art Museum is open completely from Wednesday through Friday. And there is a lot to come in the future months. Back to you in the studio, Sonia and Brooklyn.
Thanks, Meg.
And for those of you who have already checked out the exhibit, there are other opportunities to explore Michigan.
That's right. If you love a good treasure hunt, Royal Oak has one every week. The Antiques and Collectibles Flea Market brings together more than 60 vendors and generations of stories, all under one roof. Focal Point's Gabriel Klein shows how the past still has a place in the present.
This antique market is a place where you can find anything, especially if you look hard enough.
We have 60 plus vendors selling old, anything from collectible toys to vintage furniture, vintage paintings, clothing, and all kinds of accessories. And they always say one man's junk is another man's treasure.
The Royal Oak Antique and Flea Market isn't just a place you can come to buy and sell. It's a place where you can learn about the past and discover what your family grew up with.
You want to connect the past with the present, and that's hard to do these days. And I think it's nice to see that happen here, because we have people from all ages that do come and shop here, and it's educational, it's learning about where you came from, where a lot of things came from, styles came from. So you're reaching a lot of different generations on different levels.
Not only does the market make connections to the past, but also between people.
It's great. Like I said, we've been doing it over 15 years. We've been here. So I love doing it. We have good clientele, made a lot of friends. I've actually been to some of my clients' homes. I bought from them. So it's very nice. I look forward to it. I'm semi-retired. Believe it or not, I'm 66. So I look forward to it every Sunday. It's fun. We get repeat customers that come back, and I've watched some of them. I watch their kids grow up. So it's fun.
In Royal Oak, Gabriel Klein, Focal Point News.
The Antique Market in Royal Oak runs every Sunday and features rotating vendors, so the finds change week to week. For hours and more details, check the market's listings before you go.
Now we have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We have a lot more local news coming up.
When we come back, learn how the Mid-Michigan community fights global issues and find out more about a new pop star-centered class offered to students.
All that and more right after the break.
What makes the Big Ten so big? For starters, it's 18 of the country's most iconic universities. It's Defend the Rock, Jump Around, and the biggest bass drum on earth big. It's a stadium so big.
They had to name it the Big House.
It's a global...
Welcome back to Focal Point News. How was that commercial for you, Sonia? Did you stretch your legs? Did you go for a walk?
Well, there wasn't quite enough time to go for a walk. However, there has been a lot of steps taken in the Lansing area. This past weekend held the 42nd annual Crop Hunger Walk, where dozens from the greater Lansing area came together to raise money for a good cause. Focal Point's Braden Willis has the story.
It's a global issue.
It was good. It felt good to do it.
With a movement working to make a difference worldwide.
Oh, it's a good cause. That's one of the reasons I come out here for. It's a real good cause.
Today, all eyes are on the Grace United Church in Lansing.
Well, it's a crop walk, just helping people that need a little assistance. You know what I mean? We raise money and donations and everything for it.
As people from all over work up an appetite for change.
It's called the Crop Hunger Walk, and people not only from Lansing, but all across the world are coming together in stride to help stop hunger in its tracks.
Edward Ennin and Reverend Sue Platt have been getting their steps in for years.
It's my 7th year doing it now.
I've been involved with Crop Walk for years. I haven't even kept track.
And while the camaraderie is warm and welcoming today, what the walkers think is more important is recognizing what you already have and not taking anything for granted.
I think as Americans, sometimes we don't realize the hunger that goes on, even though there's a lot of hungry people right here in our community. But people around the world have even less than what we do. And so I think it's important to share what we have and be able to help others that are in need.
In Lansing, I'm Braden Willis, Focal Point News.
This year's Crop Hunger Walk managed to raise over $21,000 in the Lansing area alone. Their goal is to raise $65,000 in their fight against hunger.
But recent fundraising did not stop with the Hunger Walk. Last week, the Students for Justice in Palestine organization took to the sidewalks with sweets. But their bake sale carried a bigger message than just sugar and flour. I went out to talk to Michigan State students to see how the fundraiser turns local support into global impact. Across Michigan State's campus, tables filled with baked goods drew students in, not just for something sweet, but for a cause.
So this week's event follows our objectives, our initiatives, which is essentially we want to educate people, we want to raise awareness, and more importantly, we want to remember, we want to respect, we want to honor, we want to mourn what's going on in Gaza right now.
From cookies to cake pops, everything being sold is part of an effort to send support thousands of miles away. The student-led fundraiser is connecting East Lansing to Palestine.
The importance of this bake sale is, of course, to raise awareness specifically towards the charities that are happening, that are directly funding Gaza. We want to emphasize Heal Palestine. Heal Palestine, they're among the newer, one of the larger charities as well. And their whole mission, as the name implies, is to fund Palestinian children, help Palestinian families seek medical attention.
This week marks the group's largest fundraiser yet, with stands in every neighborhood across campus, some even selling out before the end of the day.
We really want to spread the message. We want to expand our reach.
Students stopping by say events like these are a chance to learn more and show their support in a simple but effective way.
I mean, if you hear it from students, I feel like, people can come by and see what's going on and contribute and help out and then, become more educated on what's going on.
Beyond baked goods and donations, this fundraiser marks another step in turning awareness into action across Michigan State's campus. In East Lansing, I'm Brooklyn Burschel, Focal Point News. The desserts at this bake sale did go fast, but the message behind it is likely to last far beyond.
Up next, MSU's Chinese learning community celebrated the Mid-Autumn Festival, bringing together students to share culture, food, and more. Focal Point's City Chabe joined in on the festivities.
The Chinese learning community came together to celebrate an evening of culture, language, and tradition.
Actually, we started this club since 2020. This pandemic just started, and I think my students should have some chances, opportunities to meet native speakers, and also socialize with other kind of peers. So with that in mind, so I decided maybe we can start a new club.
And 5 years later, their mission stays the same.
The whole point of CLC is to bring together people who are interested in any aspect regarding Chinese-speaking cultures or societies or languages.
And they continue to honor traditions through events like this.
One of the main aspects of this holiday, 中秋节, it's often compared to the Western or American holiday of Thanksgiving. And the reason for this is that the main focus of 中秋节, which is the Mid-Autumn Festival, is gatherings of family and reunion, 团圆.
But the festival wasn't just about mooncakes or lanterns. It was also about 社会, or building community.
Community is very important. We are here not just to learn a language or culture. Actually, we are human beings. So through the process, we learn from each other.
And the learning never stops.
And we want to provide spaces where people can celebrate those events that they would normally celebrate, and also for other people to learn about this culture that they might not normally have a chance to get to know better.
In Michigan State University, I'm Siddhi Chabe, Focal Point News.
The Chinese learning community says they welcome students with any level of interest to join in on their upcoming cultural events.
Speaking of autumn, it's crazy to think we're already in the fall months, especially with all the hot weather we've had in September.
Well, but whether we're ready or not, perhaps the cooler weather is here to carry us into the winter. We have Focal Point's Braden Willis at the weather wall today with all of our seasonal updates. How's it looking, Braden?
Thanks, guys, and good morning to you wherever you're watching from on this pretty clear now Friday morning. Before I get started, I want to preface this by saying the forecast is going to start off a little shaky this week, but don't worry, those cooler temps will stabilize once we get out of the weekend and into the upcoming week. Let's go ahead and start off with a little bit of a wide lens view of what we're working with here on our national map in terms of highs for the day. Starting off on the west coast here, things are looking pretty typical for the season. We've got Sacramento at 72, a little further south, LA feeling like 81, Phoenix feeling pretty warm at 80. Also Seattle up there sitting at about 60. Shifting our attention a little further east, things are looking about the same, maybe a little warmer than usual. Chicago at 73, Indianapolis at 72, and 65 here in Detroit. Over on the East Coast, the coolest temperatures are residing. Portland at about 68, New York at 63, and Charleston sitting at a beautiful 71. Narrowing our sights just a little closer to home gives us our regional map of the Midwest here. Temperatures are looking a little cooler than last week. We're finally dipping our toes into the 50s a little bit. Cleveland hovering in the 55 area. Green Bay at about 67 degrees and 52 in Columbus. And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for is our 7-day forecast for the temperatures here in East Lansing. The calendar says it's the middle of October, but try telling that to Mother Nature because we're feeling like 69 today with a low of 45, all the way up to 71 on Saturday with a low of 55, but don't break out the shorts and sunglasses quite yet because there's still a chance of thunderstorms in the area, so make sure you prepare yourself accordingly and don't forget those umbrellas. Another rainy day on Sunday, little break from the rain on Monday with a high of 60 and a low of 42, but after that, nothing but consistently low 50s and rain all the way through next Thursday. So despite a few outliers that come with the territory of living in Michigan, our temperatures are starting to look a bit more customary for the spooky season, and chances are they will only continue to keep moving in that direction. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I've got over here at the Weather Wall. Make sure you have a smart and safe fall break. Brooklyn, Sonia, back to you guys.
Thanks, Braden. I personally can't wait until the snow starts. I'd give anything to go back to December.
Well, I don't know about that. I personally like to see the autumn leaves falling down.
Well, on the note of going back to December, she's sold out stadiums and broken records, and now she's breaking into college classrooms. A new class at Michigan State gives students an academic reason to listen to the music of Taylor Swift. Focal Point's Michaela Mazza has that story.
At MSU, students are not only listening to Taylor Swift, but studying her in the classroom.
In prepping for this class and doing activities in this class, I think I now know so much about her and the things about her. I think I now sort of am a Swiftie.
The class, officially called Society and the Individual, the Taylor Swift Phenomenon, filled up fast. Students say that it focuses not only on Taylor Swift, but broader themes.
It's very music history, pop culture history, and it's just through the lens of Taylor Swift, which I think honestly helps because that's pretty relatable to me and I feel like my age group.
Whether you're a lifelong Swiftie or just curious about Taylor Swift's impact, professors say that classes like this can help generate academic discussions, even through pop culture and music.
We do a little bit of what everybody would know about Taylor Swift, but for the most part, we're just using Taylor Swift as the example.
And if you think it's just a fan club, think again. Students complete literary analysis and study climate change and Swift's economic impacts.
These are actually quite serious topics that have a lot of serious impacts on the world. They just often get discounted.
At Michigan State University, I'm Michaela Mazza, Focal Point News.
Wow, I wonder how students in this class study. Just pop in an earbud and relax? Or even, what do they think of Taylor's new album?
Yeah, that's certainly some interesting homework. Well, we'll have to take another quick break, but we'll be back shortly with everything sports.
See what the MSU figure skating team is up to and learn how streaming services have changed the sports industry.
Plus, we've got some footage from last week's Spartan homecoming football game. All that right after the break.
Welcome back to Focal Point News.
Brooklyn, have you been figure skating recently?
Well, I think I'm going to wait on that until winter is officially here. But I've heard some Spartans have been on the ice for a while already.
That's right. The MSU figure skating team's first competition of the season begins today, and the members have been busy practicing. But winning isn't all they're looking forward to. Focal Point's Amy Cho found out what the sport means to the figure skaters.
For figure skaters like Elena Shenton, the ice has been their home since childhood.
I was 2 years old when I first started skating. My mom was a figure skater.
Spending countless hours at the rink, Shenton says it's the best part of her day.
If I had a bad day in class, I know I can come to the rink, feel better when I leave just knowing that I was here.
Like Shenton, Danielle Totsky uses figure skating as a way to relax.
I love getting on the ice. It's a good way for me to take out all my stress and anger from the week.
For these figure skaters, coming to practice means more than just getting time on the ice.
It means everything to me, you know. You always have someone you can turn to. You always have someone to rely on.
Totsky believes the friendships made on the team are one of a kind.
My college experience would not be what it has been if I didn't meet all the girls on the skating team.
Although the figure skaters perform alone on the ice, Shenton says they're never without support.
Someone's achievement is everyone's achievement, being a part of this team.
Being part of a community that understands the ins and outs of figure skating helps Totsky feel seen.
We understand each other on a deeper level because we've all skated our whole lives. We understand how emotionally and physically taxing it is.
For these figure skaters, the sport has given them more than just a hobby. In East Lansing, Amy Cho, Focal Point News.
The figure skating team competes today and throughout the weekend at Trine University in Indiana. Good luck to all Spartans competing.
I gotta give it to those girls. Figure skating looks like an intense sport. I'll stay on the bench for that. But have you noticed how expensive it is to watch sports nowadays?
I have. It feels like I need 5 different streaming platforms just to watch my favorite teams.
Focal Point's Laura Butlovics noticed the same feeling amongst fellow students and decided to dive deeper. Take a look.
View for Washington, 47 in white. Cooley walks out for the goal line. Turns.
Streaming services have seen major growth over the last decade. Do you remember when you could watch any sports game you wanted on a single platform? Whereas now, you need multiple services just to watch your favorite teams? Sports media has made drastic changes in the last decade, forcing traditional sports networks to acclimate to changing consumer preferences while creating content and maintaining profitability.
Many customers have made the switch from cable to streaming for affordability and accessibility. However, with gradual price increases and more platforms to choose from, it's not all fun and games.
I think there's pros and cons to having so many streaming services. It can definitely make it more available to the people that only have 1 or 2 of those streaming services.
I think that the most important thing is for people to be able to ingest what they want to. And I think it is easy right now, but I think the conflict lies with the distribution of those services, and it's tricky because it all comes down to money.
Having to buy a service to so many different platforms can really take a toll on expenses, especially with the rise in cost of those platforms. It definitely takes away some of that accessibility for the people that are loyal fans and want to watch everything.
We're seeing places like NBA on TNT be bought out by bigger businesses because it all resorts back to money. And the biggest thing is just trying to find the right balance between it all, because we still want to see national games. We don't want to have to pay extra to see, you know, your favorite matchup.
So why has the cost to watch sports on these platforms increased by so much? The answer lies in licensing rights. Net Insight's Jonathan Smith, the business development director for the media technology company, says big corporations like Netflix and YouTube have been able to throw caution to the wind and bid for rights at unprecedented levels. The costs for these exclusive broadcasting rights get turned back on to you, the viewer. But for the ability to watch anywhere you want and whenever you want, it may be worth it. That's up to you to decide. From Focal Point News, I'm Laura Butlovics.
He's free. One go.
Thanks to the rise in sports streaming, we can catch our very own Spartan football team face the Indiana Hoosiers tomorrow from the warmth of our own homes.
Certainly going to be a highly streamed matchup. And the Spartan athletic teams had a busy schedule last week too.
Now, Focal Point's City Chabe joins us from the Spartan newsroom with coverage on all the action.
Thank you, Brooklyn and Sonia. Certainly a packed week for our Spartan athletes. Let's dive right in. This past weekend was homecoming right here on campus, and it was capped off by MSU football's face-off against UCLA Bruins on Saturday. Focal Point's Jack David was in the press rooms and on the sidelines for this matchup.
In the culmination of homecoming week at Michigan State University, the football squad suffered a brutal loss at the hands of the UCLA Bruins, 38-13.
Yeah, I mean, we just got to play better, execute better.
After MSU scored on the first drive of the game, the Bruins proceeded to go on a 38-point unanswered run that lasted well into the fourth quarter.
Not good enough. Starting with myself, think about the staff as we're responsible.
It's been an up and down year for the Bruins. After starting 0-4, they won a big game against Penn State before their trip to East Lansing.
That's a great team. They've really turned things around the last 2 weeks.
After being up 7-3 early in the game, the Green and White went for it on fourth down deep in their own territory.
That's a game plan call, so when they go to squeeze, we're going to run sneak. They're in sneak defense. Defenses are exposed when you kick it out wide.
UCLA stuffed the attempt and scored right after. MSU wouldn't score another point until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, we just got to execute better. We got to keep that momentum from that first drive going.
The Spartans have dropped their last 3 games, bringing their total record now to 3-3. To turn that around, they'll need to keep the faith.
No, it's not like a fleeting thing. Like we all believe in who we are and who we're led by.
Now that the game is over, as you can see by a completely empty stadium behind me, what's next for the MSU Spartans? Well, next weekend they go on the road to Indiana to play the Hoosiers, and then in 2 weeks they're back right here to take on the Michigan Wolverines.
From Focal Point News, Jack David reporting.
MSU's upcoming matchup against the Hoosiers kicks off tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. and the time for the Green and White's home matchup against the Wolverines is still to be decided. Moving on, the Munsters were back at the Munn Ice Arena this week to open the season and celebrate the return of the Big Ten champs. The Spartans started off hot, taking the lead, but New Hampshire had different plans, and Michigan State started its season with a loss. The Wildcats taking a 4-3 victory. However, looking to bounce back from the opening night's loss, MSU hit the ice in Game 2, ready to prove themselves against New Hampshire. The Spartans held the offensive zone through the first period, creating several chances, like this one from Manisto. The most exciting moment of the first 5 straight minutes without a stop. The crowd at the Munn on edge as Michigan State kept pressuring the Wildcats. Midway through the second, still 0-0, Stramill's sharp pass finds Matt Baskell, who, firing a wrist shot, makes it 1-0 Spartans. In the third, the score stays 1-0. Porter Mortone sends a quick pass to Patrick Geary, and the one-timer pushes MSU's lead to 2-0. Geary's goal sealed the deal, giving the Spartans a 2-0 win. Michigan State fell to number 3 in the USCHO rankings and will head to Beantown to face number 1 Boston University tonight at 7 p.m. Looking at MSU soccer, after winning 4 straights against the Wolverines, the Spartans headed to Iowa City last Sunday to face the number 7 Hawkeyes. MSU tied the game in the 53rd minute, but ultimately Iowa scored 2 more, just taking down the Spartans with a 5-3 loss. Spartans responded to their loss with Hawkeyes with a 2-0 victory against the Indiana Hoosiers. Heading into halftime, junior midfielder Kayla Briggs and junior defender Ella Jans scored the only 2 points of the game in the 4-minute difference. Up next, Michigan State Field Hockey welcomed Appalachian State Mountaineers to Ralph Young Field on Sunday afternoon for Senior Day. App State struck first, converting a penalty corner for a goal in the 10th minute. Just 40 seconds later, they scored again, taking a 2-0 lead into halftime. In the third quarter, App State added a third goal, but the green and white answered back. Graduate midfielder Maddie Lawler forced a turnover and found freshman forward Caroline Horace, who scored her third goal of the season. Michigan State fell 3-1, but also snapped its 4-game scoreless streak. Finally, after a week away, Michigan State football came home to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes at the Breslin Center in a thrilling 5-set match this Friday night. The Spartans won the first 2 sets, but Iowa fought back to tie it up. The match finally ended when MSU took control in the 5th with Evie Duzima's 13th kill, sealing the win. The Spartans kept the energy going into Sunday against number 20 Indiana. MSU started strong, pushing Indiana to call a timeout with the score 9-4. The score went back and forth, but the Spartans took it 25-21. Indiana came out firing in the second, holding the lead most of the way, but an 8-0 run by Michigan State closed the set 25-19, putting MSU in a good spot for the third. 18 errors by the Hoosiers propelled the Spartans to winning the final set of the match. This win marked the first time since 2017 Michigan State swept a ranked team. Following the match, freshman Malaya Long was named Big Ten Freshman of the Week for her 75 assists, 6 kills, 8 digs, and 2 blocks. And keeping up that energy, the Spartans will be hosting the number 1 ranked Nebraska tonight at 7 p.m. So I hope you enjoy that game, and that's all from me in the newsroom. I'm Siddhi Chaube. Sonia, Brooklyn, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Siddhi, for the sports update.
I was excited to see so many Spartans in town last weekend for the homecoming game. There are just so many traditions behind it.
That's right. On Saturday, a musically inclined group of Spartans gathered for a very special tradition they call tailgate singing. Focal Point's Jackie Graham spent some time with the group ahead of our most recent football game.
The spirits are high on Michigan State football game day.
Everyone's always out and about. Everyone's having a good time tailgating, and it's really fun to see what everyone's doing on campus.
While it seems like there's just tailgates all around, there are students everywhere finding their own ways to spread spirit.
We are Capital Green. Thank you guys so much.
Today, we are walking around to different tailgates on campus before the game. It's homecoming week, so this is a really fun and exciting time for us, but we go up to random tailgates and we just kind of introduce ourselves, ask if we can sing for them, and it's our main source of fundraising for the fall season.
More than just singing, these students use their talents to make an impact.
We really love doing it. We've been doing it forever. It's one of our biggest traditions of the group. It just it gets us hyped for game day. It gets other people hyped for game day.
One of the most important reasons why we sing for people on game day is just to make them feel a little bit more MSU spirit. Obviously, we love to sing the fight song, the alma mater.
Capital Green's bond is like no other.
Yeah, we're a big group of friends who just like to make music together. It's all of our musical outlet in college, and we just have a great time together, and it's a really fun group to be a part of in college.
CG puts a fun twist on decade-long traditions, allowing the world to hear their Spartan melodies. In East Lansing, this is Jackie Graham, Focal Point News.
Seems like a fan favorite tradition. There just truly are so many things you can do and see on game day.
That's true, but unfortunately, that's all we have for you this week on Focal Point. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Brooklyn Burschel.
And I'm Sonia Krohn. We'll be back next week with more news that matter to you from MSU's campus and beyond.
Have a great weekend, Spartans.